Well, outrage over Donald Trump using the military as pawns in a manufactured crisis in Los Angeles is building just hours before Donald Trump intends to abuse the military again to celebrate, as Jen said, himself. Donald Trump is throwing a multi-million-dollar military parade for the Army's 250th birthday, which just so happens to coincide with his 79th birthday. But that parade will be overshadowed by the more than 2,000 protest events planned in cities across the country to declare no kings in America. The Trump administration is gaslighting us about what's going on in the streets of Los Angeles. Donald Trump's invented threats have led to a very real crackdown. ICE agents are not just targeting criminals, as this administration would have you believe. They're going after people making beds in hotels, picking vegetables on farms, washing cars, offering help at Home Depots, sewing clothes in garment factories. And that lie has led to angry protests that Donald Trump wanted to squash, and he wanted to look very tough in doing that. So he deployed the military, the National Guard in California, without the governor's consent, something that is very rarely done and never for these types of reasons. And a federal judge ruled last night that that is unlawful. The so-called threat posed by protesters is not and has not reached the level to support the claim by Donald Trump that he made this morning. Quote, "If I didn't send the military into Los Angeles, that city would be burning to the ground right now. We saved L.A., end quote." I don't know if you know anybody in L.A., but give them a call. Send them a text and find out whether any of that is true. State and local officials say the opposite has happened. The Marines that Donald Trump claims he had to deploy were not on the streets of Los Angeles until today, where they are standing guard outside federal buildings. And this video from Reuters purports to show the Marines carrying out the first known detention of a civilian by active duty troops in Los Angeles. Reuters reports, quote, asked about the incident, the U.S. military's Northern Command spokesperson said active duty forces, quote, may temporarily detain an individual in specific circumstances, end quote. Now NBC News reports Russia is doing Trump's bidding on protest disinformation, amplifying conspiracy theories on social media about the protests in Los Angeles against ICE immigration raids. Quote, Russian media and pro-Russian voices have embraced right-wing conspiracy theories about the protests. Right-wing American voices online are pushing the idea that the protests in Los Angeles are not what they appear, and that a secret leftist cabal tied to Democratic politicians is orchestrating unrest, end quote. Sort of like Pizzagate. The former Republican governor of California, Arnold Schwarzenegger, said this.
They make it out to like it is a war zone, the whole Los Angeles, the whole city or the county. And the fact of the matter is it's maybe like 0.001% of the area of Los Angeles has problems and there's a protest.
Yeah.
And so I think that this is important for people to know, because I don't want all of a sudden tourism to suffer in Los Angeles because what they see on television, because the media sometimes shows it as if the whole Los Angeles is a big war zone, which is not really the case.
The threat on the streets of downtown Los Angeles might be invented, but the Trump crackdown in response to it is real. A United States senator was pushed to the ground, handcuffed, and forcibly removed for trying to ask the Homeland Security Secretary a question at a press conference. Senator Alex Padilla was exercising his rights in a state where he has clear legal oversight jurisdiction, and that's what happened. And what he was objecting to is the cruel and potentially unlawful treatment of this administration against immigrants, and the characterization of Los Angeles as needing to be liberated. Republicans are mostly silent about this shocking breach of decency. Some Republicans have privately voiced opposition to what happened, according to Senator Padilla. A few have condemned it publicly, including Republican Senator Susan Collins, who said, I think it's very disturbing. He's being manhandled and physically removed, and it's hard to imagine a justification for that. The Republican Senator Lisa Murkowski of Alaska said, it's horrible. It's shocking at every level. It is not the America I know, end quote. It's not the America I know. But many, many more have remained silent. This isn't about Senator Alex Padilla. Trump is testing the U.S. He's testing us, figuring out what we will tolerate. Everything we've seen happening in Los Angeles is trying to send a message to people about resisting this administration. Donald Trump wants to demoralize you into thinking that protesting is pointless. Resistance is futile. Or worse, resistance will be met with force. That's why Donald Trump deployed the National Guard and the Marines to Los Angeles. It's designed to intimidate, to get all of us to fall in line. But we cannot, will not, and must not stay silent. This isn't normal. This is not what democracy looks like.
Every day, Donald Trump is making this nation look more and more like a fascist state.
We do not normalize this kind of violence simply because the White House doesn't agree with people who dissent. If this is how a United States senator can be treated, then none of us ultimately are immune.
We ask, how do you lose a democracy? How does one lose a democracy? This is how you lose a democracy.
The question is, how will we respond? Will we defend this institution, or will we yield to the tactics of authoritarian, violent leaders?
Now, this is why tens, perhaps hundreds of thousands of Americans are expected to mobilize tomorrow against Donald Trump's administration. The nationwide protest will provide exactly the split-screen moment that Donald Trump doesn't want to detract from his embarrassing military parade, which many Republicans are skipping, according to Politico. Quote, among the 50 GOP lawmakers surveyed by Politico, only 7 said they plan to stay in Washington this weekend for the festivities. Those begging off include members of the Republican leadership in both chambers. Nearly a dozen Senate Republicans dodged questions from HuffPost asking if they were comfortable with the estimated up to $45 million price tag for a military parade as they try really hard to pass a cruel budget bill that will add trillions to the national debt, provide tax cuts to the wealthy, and cause 16 million people to lose health insurance. This is not a good look. And by the way, that's on top of the $134 million cost of deploying the National Guard troops to Los Angeles, something that no one thought was necessary. The political cartoonist J.D. Crowe dubbed Donald Trump's military parade, quote, democracy death march in progress, adding, quote, real U.S. presidents don't need a military parade to feed their ego. That's what authoritarian dictators do. Governor Gavin Newsom summed up what he thinks a military parade actually means for Donald Trump.
It's a vulgar display. It's the kind of thing you see Kim Jong-un, you see it Putin, you see it with dictators around the world that are weak and just want to demonstrate strength. Weakness masquerading as strength. To fet the dear leader on his birthday, what an embarrassment. Honestly, that's about as small as it gets. How weak do you have to be to commandeer the military to fet you on your birthday in a vulgar display of weakness? That's Donald Trump.
But just because Donald Trump is throwing himself a military parade in the style of Russia or North Korea does not mean that America is like Russia or North Korea. And tomorrow's protests demonstrate why, despite Donald Trump's actions, America is still a democracy. My first guest tonight, M. Gesson, told the New York Times, quote, we're dealing with an anti-democratic force that aims to continuously reduce the space available for action, whether it's action by journalists or action by lawyers or action by academics. For any group of us to act in our particular fields, that space is shrinking. So when we find our footing after a shock, we need to take stock of the space that's available and take advantage of all of it, end quote. Joining me now is the aforementioned M. Gesson, opinion columnist at the New York Times. M, good to see you. Thank you for being with us. I really want to explore this concept about the space in which you and I exist being shrunk, and what you say we're supposed to do. When we absorb the shock of it all and we come back out, we evaluate the space around us. Tell me what that means to our viewer.
You know, I spent many, many years living in Russia, writing about Vladimir Putin, but even more important for the purposes of this conversation, just living in Russia, being a journalist there. And there is always as an autocracy takes hold, whether it's doing it slowly like Russia's did or fast like America is doing, there's always this sense of a shrinking space, right? There's something that you could do yesterday that you can't do today. But if there's one thing that you can see in hindsight, it's always, oh my God, we had all this possibility and we didn't use it. And so what I was trying to say is that when we normalize things, and we inevitably do because we're human and because we've sort of gotten used to this administration, as insane as it is, we kind of know its repertoire. It's already tried everything everywhere all at once. And so we kind of feel like, oh, well, I can live with this. I can still do my work. I can still raise my children. I can still get up in the morning, which is all very important. But the more important thing is, what can you actually do? What can you actually do that you may not be able to do tomorrow? And protest is very much a part of that.
I think that's important that you say that because we still have agency in the United States. People use all sorts of examples, and I'm sure you have some, but often people talk about Germany in 1933. If you were in Germany in 1933 hoping things would get better, and you could see 1943 Germany, you might behave differently in 1933 Germany. And it's the same idea. It's if you could see into the future and say, this could go very wrong, but I can take action now, including protesting, that may derail this attempt for it to go badly, I should.
Absolutely. And, the main difference between Americans in 2025 and Germans in 1933 is that no country had quite gone through what Germany was going through in 1933, which is turning from a democracy into a totalitarian state very fast. But in 2025, we have a lot of that experience. We've seen,
yes.
We have the history of Germany in 1933, and we have all the contemporary autocracies in their slightly different flavors. And so we know what happens, and we know what's happening. And we know that we have a possibility to stop it now, and we're not going to have it in a few years.